Panther people, what is up? What's going on? Thanks for clicking Panthers Post. Appreciate you spending some time here. It's going to be a nice and quick one, but man, there's so much to talk about. If you're new here, make sure to like, subscribe. We're at 889 subscribers. Each episode I get about 100 new subscribers. That's not even a humble brag because compared to others, that's nothing. But the goal of to get to 1,000 subscribers by the start of the season, training camp is less than 10 days away. So if we can try to get 1,000 subscribers by the season, that'll be amazing. That'd be a nice personal goal of mine. But if you're not new here, thanks for being a part of this. Thanks for continuing to comment in the comment community to encourage me to continue doing what I gotta do. I also appreciate your patience. I'm not gonna lie, last week, I was a little hot and heavy about Euro Cup 2020. I see it in the stats that around like 89% of my audience is in the US. So I don't know if you guys were into the Euros that much, but I was. I was all into Team England. It is not coming home. It is going to Rome. And so I was kind of tangled up in that and all of Sunday. So I appreciate your patience. We're back. Also, Pep Talk was something that we did last episode and getting a lot of good feedback from people in the comment community. So I appreciate that. People who are new here and people who aren't. Some give you suggestions on who is next in line for that Pep Talk. I'm getting Christian Miller, Matt Paradis. And so we're going to figure it out. Not going to do it today because I'm going to wait. Because after training camp, things are going to happen. We're going to start getting storylines out of Wolford. If that's the proper way to pronounce it. People have been telling me how to do that properly. I'm so sorry. But storylines are going to come out of that. And so out of that, we will use it as a pep talk fuel. But I think Christian Miller would make sense as someone in the crosshairs for a pep talk. We got a ton of stuff to talk about now. So let's get right to it. Panthers, unlike some other teams in the NFL, did manage to get a long-term contract done with one of their franchise tag players before the deadline. And in this case, it was right tackle Taylor Moton. They signed him to a $72 million 4-year contract. His agent was probably like, hey, look at his jersey, match that, put a couple zeros, done deal. But that $72 million doesn't really matter. It's not real money. It's the $43 million guaranteed that they're going to be putting into his bank account. And people are pretty happy about that. The 26-year-old only missed 9 snaps last year, only had 1 penalty, and he solidifies that right side of that offensive line. So now all the onus is on that left side. You got the right side figured out. You don't have a left-handed quarterback, so it's too bad. But because that would be his blind spot. That's what I'm trying to say. So now they just got to figure out that left tackle spot. But back to Moton, though. The guy just seems like, ever since he got here, drafted out of Western Michigan, just seems like a great guy. Just seems kind of like that calming presence in the room. Seems very intelligent. People seem to love him. I thought that was really cool. I don't know if this was on purpose or you saw, they kind of give us a snapshot of the DMs of some of these guys like Sam Darnold, and people just messaging them, be like, oh, this is great. And then Sam just kind of responding to that, be like, yeah, this is awesome. Like, Taylor's a great guy. He deserves everything he gets. But in the grand scheme of things, Darren Gant from Panthers.com wrote a nice little piece about why this is important, not only to pay a guy what he's worth, which is now the richest right tackle contract in the NFL right now after Ryan Ramczyk. What did I say? I said that's going to be a record for about a week. But now that they solidified that right side for the next 4 years, Fitterer and Matt Rule like to have players who are flexible and versatile on the field. Now, them and Suleiman, the cap wizard, has some financial versatility that they can now focus their eyes on guys like Dante Jackson, DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson to try to figure all that stuff out. One of the more successful wide receivers of the Carolina Panthers has hung up the cleats after being in the league since 2007. Ted Ginn Jr., who was drafted in 2007, been in the NFL for 14 years. That's crazy. When you think about the average career is 2, maybe 3 years. And when he came in super hyped out of Ohio State, personally, when I think he was drafted with the Miami Dolphins, I did not believe in it that much. The fact, that was the era of the Terrell Owens, you had the Calvin Johnsons. So in my mind, wide receivers they had to be large and muscular, physical freaks. And he was, a tall, lanky, wide stride, gazelle type wide receiver, and I just didn't think he would last. But hey, who the hell am I? I'm eating crow now. 14 years in the NFL, 6th overall in Panthers history in terms of receiving touchdowns. So we all remember his time with the Panthers. He was there from 2013 as well as 2015 to 17. And of course, that memorable 2015 season. And that image of him scoring that long touchdown against the Arizona Cardinals in an NFC Championship game. That was one of the many memories I have. I will say, as the game went on, I was a bit foggier, to put it lightly, but I do remember that the guy can turn on the Jets. It doesn't even look like he's moving fast because of his long strides. He kind of runs like a 300-meter dash guy. Like, it's not the 100-meter that's like really pitter-patter fast at the beginning and then long strides. He just has long strides continuously, and he just gradually, gracefully picks up the acceleration, and then he's gone. And that's exactly what happened against the Cardinals in the NFC Championship game. I remember that vividly. Is Ted Ginn one of the top 10 wide receivers in Panthers history? I know you got guys like Ricky Prohl who had great careers as well. You have the guys who make the most sense, obviously. You have your Steve Smiths, the Mushi Muhammad. You have the Greg Olsons. It's kind of awesome that Christian McCaffrey is part of that as well as DJ Moore. Kelvin Benjamin, top 10 in receiving yards with the Panthers. So people throw shade on the now tight end, that is Kelvin Benjamin, but he did some good things as well. Afterwards, seemed like a bit of a douche. But is there an argument out there that Ted Ginn is a top 10, maybe top 12 wide receiver for the Carolina Panthers? I'm not saying he's going to be a Ring of Honor guy, but he was part of a team that went to the Super Bowl. They were pretty awesome, and he put up stats. Top 6 in receiving touchdowns. Touchdowns matter. I don't really care about receiving yards. Suggested. Comment community. Let me know. What do you think? Ted Ginn, top 10 Carolina Panthers wide receiver? Let's go to somebody who is just in the first couple of chapters of his very promising NFL career. That's defensive end Brian Burns. And he made national television for all the right reasons with Good Morning Football, arguably the best sports show that's out there right now. Not just morning sports talk show on TV, but just overall best sports, not just NFL show that's on right now. And Brian Burns getting some national love, talking with Kay, Peter Schrager, Kyle Brandt, and all those guys, as well as Nate Burleson. And he chatted with them about this upcoming season with the Panthers, and he talked about that dog mentality. I don't even think they should be called the Carolina Panthers. We call the Carolina Dogs, because like this team routinely has guys who are being referred to as dogs, that with that dog mentality. And the person he was saying has that dog mentality actually wasn't on the defensive side. You'd be surprised. Take a look.
He's a cool dude, down to earth, nice guy. And watching him through OTAs, I could tell he has that dog mentality. It just takes a little bit to get him out, because you got to get a little comfortable with the team like he just got there. So, but I can already tell he's going to be a great addition to the group and a great leader for the offense.
So yeah, the Panthers, he plays for the Panthers, so he's going to say nice things about Sam Darnold. They're all going to say nice things about Sam Darnold. But the pressure is mounting. Not that it's already not the size of Mount Everest, but it is getting there for Sam Darnold. When you got defensive players saying that you're a dog and you're just starting with this team, but you're really picking things up, it's putting that expectation up at an unreasonable level for week 1 against the Jets. But let's stick with Brian Burns now. They asked him, how does it feel to have Haason Reddick, who had such a great year last year with the Arizona Cardinals, on the opposite side of the defensive line? And this is what Brian Burns had to say about some of the friendly bets and challenges he has between himself and number 43.
Oh, I already know he's going to push me. So having him on the other side of me, he gets a sack, he's going to just push me and make me want to get a sack. And I can already tell, like, our competitive nature is going to come out. And it's going to be a sack competition. I'm going to try to beat him every game, and he already know that. He got some bread over there, so I'm going to need that about him. But,
he got some bread.
A little vacation.
A little Rolex or something.
A little vacation or something, a little something, you feel me? I don't know. I might have to give me a go-kart. I always wanted a go-kart. I don't know where I'm going to drive it, but I get that, though.
Who's going to have more sacks or tackles for a loss, if we want to remember what Luke Kuechly was talking about, Move the Sticks podcast with Bucky Brooks and Daniel Jeremiah. Sacks are great, but tackles for loss are also just as good, because, again, it sets the team up, the offense up behind the line. Yet again, they're going at a loss and they're next down. So I wonder who's going to have more tackles for loss / sacks between Haason Reddick and Brian Burns. Offensive coordinators, offensive lines are going to have to figure it out. They're going to have to pick their poison. Which one of these two guys are they going to try to double team? And whoever they do, it's just going to open up someone else. So I feel like, just from his physical freak, Spider-Man love and lengthness, I think Brian Burns will be able to get something that would normally not be a sack, and he'll just get like the tip of his middle finger on a quarterback and be able to just grab the rest of it and bring him down. I feel like just by that, scheme aside, whoever they decide to double team and whoever they leave free, I feel like even if double teamed, Brian Burns can make something out of nothing, and I think he's going to explode. And Brian Burns, big Spider-Man guy. I can only imagine what his anticipation levels are like for Spider-Man, the next Spider-Man movie. What's it called? Not Coming Home? Not far. It's not Far From Home. No Way Home. No Way Home? Say it. It's No Way Home. Brian Burns, huge Spider-Man fan. He does that very difficult to do pose in the middle of a game. Like, your mobility and your flexibility needs to be on point if you're going to be doing that after every big play or sack. But he is no doubt a huge Spider-Man fan. They asked him about that. Is the fandom still there?
Yeah, it's still as strong as it was. I still watch Spider-Man to this day. He's still my favorite superhero and everything like that. And I feel like he resembles my game as far as athletic ability, flexibility, speed, quickness, instinct. I feel like that's all me. So it just kind of it just goes hand in hand. Like, he's my favorite superhero, and that's also what I do on the field.
I mean, his fandom can't go away. Just think about all the gosh darn things that have come out, including Spider-Man since he's been drafted. You had Civil War, you had Infinity War, you had Endgame, and you had all his homecoming movies as well as Far From Home, and now there's No Way Home. So I don't know how anybody, even if you get older, could have your fandom for a specific superhero dwindle with time. I don't want to be that guy, that armchair quarterback who's watching a TV show saying, oh, I could have done better than that. I'm not going to be that guy. But if I was working for Good Morning Football and I was doing that interview, that video interview with Brian Burns, it wasn't a radio interview, everything's on Zoom now, I would have noticed that dude, while he's a Spider-Man fan, had a Venom t-shirt on. So then I would ask him, who would you rather be? You love Spider-Man, but who would you rather be on the field, Brian Burns? Would you rather be Spider-Man with all his abilities or Venom? Because I know both are strong, but Venom is a beast. Like, he seems like a defensive end or defensive tackle style player. So I would ask Brian Burns, who would you rather be? Would you rather be Spider-Man or would you rather be Venom? Because it's looking like you're going to the dark side a little bit. If he was a Spider-Man fan, he'd be wearing a Spider-Man shirt. But no, he's rocking that Eddie Brock Venom shirt. Sticking on the defensive side, the Good Morning Football crew all chose a player that they felt was going to explode in 2021-2022. And Kay Adams, who knows her stuff, she has multiple jobs in football, not just at Good Morning Football. You know, she works in fantasy football. She also works for, like, People Magazine TV. So she's a people person. She can read people. She can read players. She's pretty much on point each time. And she picked Jeremy Chinn from the Carolina Panthers to have a breakout year next year. And I couldn't agree more. So not only is Jeremy Chinn literally in a position that will allow him to succeed and to dominate the back half of the defensive field, but if you just take a look at the division he's in, I'm not saying the NFC South is a cakewalk, but the quarterback situation and the options are definitely getting more favorable for Chinn and the Panthers defense. Not mentioning the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm not counting out Tom Brady. The guy is eternal. He is Thanos. He is inevitable. He's not going anywhere. So I'm not going to talk about them. But you have guys like Drew Brees who aren't playing anymore. So that situation in New Orleans is kind of in flux unless something crazy happens and they get Aaron Rodgers, which I don't see happening. I think the Saints could be a more favorable matchup for the Panthers defense. For the Atlanta Falcons, you got guys like Kyle Pitts, who's their new tight end draft pick. We'll see if he gets on early in his career, but really their main target is Calvin Ridley. Unlike Tom Brady, Matt Ryan is a guy who I see as that could be a guy who have the instant decline out of nowhere. You can't explain it. He just falls off a cliff. So I think facing the Atlanta Falcons twice this year, obviously being in the division, I think they could be an easier matchup for this Panthers defense, thus help Jeremy Chinn fulfill that prophecy that he can blow up in 2021, 2022. He didn't get Rookie Defensive Player of the Year last year, but maybe he could be in the running for Defensive Player of the Year in general next year. We'll see. All right, that's it for Panthers Post. I appreciate you clicking. I cannot wait for training camp. It is officially 10 days away at the filming of this episode, July 28th. It's a Wednesday. I'm going to be at work. I'm going to be super distracted just watching if there is a live cam of whatever's happening during training camp. I can't wait to take a look at seeing what's going on, the storylines that's going to come out of this, who gets cut, who's on the bubble, who gets picked up, who gets promoted, who's in the wide receiver room, who is potentially going to be the starting left tackle for this team, who's going to step up as the second string running back for the Panthers. I'm so excited. It's 10 days away. I appreciate you guys clicking on this. Make sure to comment in the comment community. I appreciate all things that are written, both good things or bad. I think it's dope. If you're wondering where I got this t-shirt, Roaring Riot, the best fan club out there right now. So shout out to them. Shout out to Zach, the rest of the Roaring Riot crew. Shout out to you guys clicking on this in the middle of July. We're all primed for the season. I cannot wait. I think the Panthers are going to be sneaky good. I keep saying it. They're already competitive last year. The record didn't show it, but I think this year they could take that next step. Can't wait. I appreciate you guys. Again, if you're new, make sure to like, subscribe. The road to 1,000 by the beginning of the season is very much in full swing. We're almost there. I appreciate it. See you guys next week.